So I know some of you think, Colin, you media people are blowing this out of proportion. Folks, say it out loud. Famous young athlete, dad's a superstar. Many fans think his career is being sabotaged by the general manager and head coach. He plummets in the draft, laughs about it, and oh, by the way, multiple speeding tickets in camp. Is that not interesting? TMZ was built on guys like Shedeur. It's fascinating. It's a soap opera. Now, I don't think he's going to be great against the Raiders. Why? Because I don't think he's great. But we all love tension, and you have real tension here. There's a lot of people that absolutely believe that the Cleveland Browns are mismanaging and undercoaching him and are rooting against him actively. I don't. Let's see who's right. So, and I've said this before, not every game has to be the Super Bowl or Ohio State, Michigan, or a Dodger-Yankee World Series, or, Duke, Carolina. I grew up on Evel Knievel, and I've always loved watching the Little League World Series. And this has a Jake Paul fight, reality television show. I'll be Andy Cohen between Max Crosby and the Raiders and Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. And I can't wait. I mean, Tim Tebow games were ugly. They were kind of interesting. They got massive ratings for different reasons. So I don't think he's going to be great, but you can't tell me it's not interesting. 2-8 versus 2-8. NFL's king for this reason. I would be shocked if this doesn't get it's a spectacle, if it doesn't get a real number. And, again, not every game that is fascinating because the teams are great. We're watching the Buffalo Bills fall apart. That is fascinating. Last night, with that game, my show today, if Buffalo won by 20, it's not an interesting game. The fact Buffalo lost is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's right about that. I was actually thinking about that about Buffalo Bills today. And because I made a video about that, with the Kansas City Chiefs and them losing. I was talking to a longtime subscriber who we talk a lot about, big KC fan, and how I was like, he's like, oh, hopefully you make a post-game video. And it was for the Jags versus the Chiefs. And this was kind of before the Chiefs obviously started to really kind of fumble a bit. And I was like, honestly, and I thought the Jags were going to lose that game. And I was just like, honestly, like I'll make a post-game video, like maybe if the Chiefs win, if the Chiefs lose. But I'm like, if the Chiefs win, it's just like, it's just same old, same old. And I didn't think the Jags were that good. So I was like, they beat a bad team. Like, it was a Thursday night game or Monday night game. And I had a lot going on. I was like, I'm just, I'll talk about it the next day. I'll talk about it on Tuesday or whatever. But then they lost, and it was like, well, I got like, that's a story. Like, that is, especially how that game unfolded. You're like, that's a story. And with Shedeur, yeah, of course it's box office. Of course it's rating. Like, it's drama. This is how people feel. Like, this is how stories and personalities get built up. It's drama. I don't think there's any other word to put it. It's just, it's drama, and that's what makes it all entertaining. You got people who are absolutely positively rooting for Shedeur to the maximum, and you absolutely positively have people rooting against Shedeur to the maximum. My issue with these conversations is always that people try to pretend that they try to pretend multiple things. One, that something is happening, that it's not like what Colin just laid out about there's sabotage here. That's insanity to me, as I've already talked about. And then the extra layer of pretending and nonsense is that there's somehow like extra hate towards like a Shedeur. There's like extra people rooting against him. And it's just like people are rooting against Josh Allen. People are rooting against Lamar Jackson. People are rooting against Baker Mayfield, and it reaches incredibly high levels. When I've been talking about this over the course of the last couple of days, because every time Josh Allen loses or has a bad game, Lamar Jackson fans and Mahomes fans pile in the comment section like you would not believe. It's just through the roof. Like, it's jarring. And when Lamar Jackson loses, it's not the same thing. The Josh Allen fans do not pile into the comment section. Like, it doesn't happen. And for me specifically, especially earlier on in the season when Baker was having a little bit more success, and this was a little bit more centered towards me, whereas the Josh Allen takes were a little bit more just general about Josh Allen. But with the Baker Mayfield, it was kind of, people felt that like I don't like Baker or that I like favor Jalen Hurts or whatever. And so it was like if Jalen Hurts struggled, they would all go into the comment section and be like, well, yeah, what about that? What about that? What about that? And if Baker won, it was like celebrating. And if Baker lost, like again, the Jalen Hurts fans weren't going up in there. They weren't commenting like crazy. But like certain teams, certain players, certain personalities, certain fan bases, things get intense. And Shedeur is part of that family. He's part of the Baker Mayfield family, right? Like he's part of the Lamar family. He's part of the Josh Allen family. Like that. That's how it is right now. And it has nothing to do with anything extra than that. For any of the more terrible reasons why we make things dramatic, it's because he's an outspoken person. He's had a lot of success, but he's also doubted. He's got a dad that's incredibly outspoken. There's like some of that controversy fallen in the draft, conspiracy theories. Like there's just a lot going on. There's a lot going on, and it's entertainment. And I think we can just leave it at that and just enjoy the entertainment. And it doesn't need to be anything more nefarious than that. I mean, it's just it's the part of sports is rooting for other teams and other players to fail. Like that's how it works. And Shedeur is on the side of both right now. Caleb Williams can't tell you how many people were rooting for that man to fail. And Boone Nix, essentially every quarter, it really kind of felt like every quarterback was really rooted last year. Every rookie quarterback there was an avalanche of people who desperately wanted those quarterbacks to be terrible. And Jane Daniels had the most positive fan base, I'd say. In terms of, obviously, each individual fan base supports their player, but I would say that Jane Daniels at least had a little bit more general consensus that their biggest haters, Big Jaden's biggest haters, I'd say, was mainly Caleb Williams fans. Because they were just like, no. There was just that battle between the 1 and 2 and that, and then you'd had a little bit of Eagles fans who would want to maybe downplay Jane Daniels because they're like a division rival, but like nothing too extreme, nothing too dramatic, honestly. But there was intense, like Caleb is failing, Caleb's failing. And same thing with Bo Nix. Bo Nix is not good. Nick is not good. He's trash. He's bad. And a lot of it was KC fans and Mahomes fans, etc. And so it's just like that. That's what's just causing all of this to get juiced up. And so like I want to watch this game. Are you kidding me? Like this is box office. This is interesting. This is entertainment. This is how is Shedeur going to play? And it's given to him on a silver platter. Not meaning that he's guaranteed for success and that if he doesn't succeed, it's proof that he's not good enough, but like he's going up against the Las Vegas Raiders. That's like really the best possible like game one to go up against. Jackson Dart had to go up against the Chargers. That's a tough one. Bo Nix had to go up against like back-to-back like elite defenses. Jin Daniels had to go up against Todd BS and the Bucs defense. Like you had tough situations. Caleb Williams got to go up against Tennessee Titans, which I guess they had like an okay defense on the Craze, but obviously Will Levis like not a good team. Like that was in an easier opportunity, and on a spectrum of like the easiest and the hardest. Like this is definitely up there with the easiest. Now again, doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to succeed, but at the same time, this is where these conversations, and this is where I'm like already trying to get ahead of this because Monday is going to be fascinating no matter what happens in this game. Okay, no matter what happens, it was really impressive to see Jackson Dart step up and really succeed, like that. That was really, really, really impressive. By the same token, defended Caleb Williams and Bo Nix and whatnot for some of their early struggles. Now, granted, that was week 1, so they didn't have throughout the course of the season. Jackson Dart, I think, what did Russ play, like 3 or 4 games? I forget the exact number. I get maybe 2 or 3. So he had a few weeks, but like it was really impressive to see him step in and just immediately look comfortable and have a lot of success. And yet, if he was overwhelmed and didn't look good, you'd say, I get it. Makes sense. That's fine. That's fair. We saw Joe Flacco with this Cleveland Browns team do nothing, and then he goes to the Cincinnati Bengals, and then he immediately starts to have success. So even if he struggles, you can't necessarily use this as a game to be like, I told you he's terrible. I told you he's bad. But also, if he struggles, it does start to slowly poke holes in the fact that this quarterback is so amazing, so legendary. So, I mean, like, people are trying to paint Shedeur as, like, essentially an all-time special talent, a generational talent. And it's like, well, then you would at least show some semblances of that in this game, no matter what, no matter who your coaching staff is or who, who's on your roster. But, and then also, you do have Dylan Gabriel now to compare him to, where you're kind of like, if you don't look just as competent as Dylan Gabriel again, it becomes a harder sell here. So it is interesting, and some of the people that want to see Shedeur fail, if he succeeds, they'll be like, well, it was against the Raiders, and I've always been consistent about this with young quarterbacks. I do not care how bad the defense is. I do not care how bad the teams are. If you play well, if you look comfortable, confident, you're making good throws, you're making good reads, etc., then that is impressive to me. You're a young quarterback. You're a rookie quarterback. And then I talked about, like, throughout the course of the season, like, eventually you graduate from that. Maybe you don't graduate it from it until next year, but it was like, Drake May has graduated it for me so far. And it's just like, I don't care what you do against bad teams. Just like, I don't care about what Josh Allen does against bad teams, or Mahomes, or Lamar, or any of these other established quarterbacks. It's like when Patrick Mahomes lit up the Raiders in that offense, I was like, I don't care about that. It means nothing to me. It's the Raiders. Terrible. Dude, I don't care if it's a divisional game. They're terrible. They lit up the Commanders. I'm like, congrats. They're terrible. It doesn't mean anything to me, but it would mean something to me if Shedeur does it. If Caleb did it as rookie year and Jane did it as rookie year, you're like, no, that does mean something. That does mean something, because you have established players that don't automatically do that, as we've definitely seen throughout the course of this season, for sure. So everything is on the table right now. To me, it's like, I'm not trying to make any predictions. Like, Colin's out here trying to make very, specific types of narratives. I'm just trying to lay out what we're watching and what the possible narratives are. And then I'm just actually, two of what I'm most interested in is, one, how does Shedeur play? Like, how does it actually look, and what are my own conclusions? My own strict, like, what do I see there? And what are the conclusions that I'm reaching? And then I'm going to be so fascinated to see whether he plays poorly or great. What are the conversations? What are the conversations? And I think it's very much going to be momentum driven. If he plays well, I think it'll get juiced up to the max. And if he plays bad, it'll get juiced up to the max. I don't see a lot of nuance here. Just like I didn't see about Caleb or about Bo or with JJ McCarthy. And so I don't see why we're going to get any type of nuanced conversation here about Shedeur Sanders. So, but in a weird way, that's what kind of makes it kind of exciting as well, because you just know, the conversation's going to be intense. The conversation is going to be intense. It's like it's impossible for someone to say, no, I think he actually looked pretty good. It wasn't the best start. There was a little something there, but it wasn't like, and you're just not going to kind of get that. No matter what he does, even if he plays that style where it's like 17 for 28, 210 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and and it's just like, even it was not bad. It was okay. Nothing great, nothing special. Took a couple bad sacks, could have thrown a couple interceptions, but only had the one, and it'll still get juiced up in one direction or the other. And so that's why I want to reach my own conclusions, sit back, see what everyone else has to say, and then try to navigate that conversation from there. Yeah, it's going to be a story either way, and I'm for it. And like what Colin was saying, and I'll end here, that is what makes football so amazing. I absolutely, positively, without a shadow of a doubt, no hesitation. You can say you're going to watch Shedur's first start against the Raiders with the Cleveland Browns. Or do you want to watch like Steph Curry versus LeBron James Christmas Day? I'm taking this game every single day. Every single day. Because it's like, I don't care about what is it, the 30th game for the NBA. Doesn't matter. It means nothing to me. I mean, if we're talking about like game 5 of the playoffs or something, it's like, okay, that's different. But it's like a regular season game in like November, December in basketball. I don't care who it is. A rematch between OKC and the Pacers, like, doesn't matter. Don't care. Lakers and the Warriors, like in the 12th game of the season, like Luka versus Steph, like, don't care. It's the Raiders versus the Browns, 2 teams that are circling the drain. Geno has been playing terrible. This is Shedeur has had a total of like 15 snaps in the NFL or whatever. I'm like, bring it on. Let's go. Like, that's why football's king, man. That's why football is unbelievable. It's like, I'm more excited about this game than other more competitive, I think the Panthers are playing the 49ers. That has real repercussions. The Panthers are actually competing for the divisions. So are the 49ers. At the very least, playoff spots, and potentially fighting each other for playoff spots. Like there's real repercussions, and I want to watch that game, and I'm gonna watch that game, and I'm gonna be excited to watch that game. But this game is like, shoot, like it's like, ooh, what's about to happen here? If the 49ers lose the Panthers lose the 49ers, I'll talk about it. We'll unpack it, but it's like just something to unpack and talk. This is something, this is like, whoa, what do we got? So I love it. I absolutely love it. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Shedeur Sanders and Cleveland Browns? Do you think he will live up to all the hype? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So you agree with me or disagree with me? Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.